thank you, Lionel, for the great introduction, and I'm so happy to be here for a second time. But I just want to say, oh my God, you guys can cook. You know, that was some amazing food. So I want to say thank you for having me here. And as a thank you for being here, does anybody have the sign-in sheet? Because what's going to happen is that I'm going to give you a free digital copy of this book if you have your name on. So can anybody raise the sheet if anybody has it for the sign-in sheet? Okay. I guess it's at the front. So I'll just pass it around. Make sure you get it. Otherwise, you can also get the book on Amazon just as a thank you for coming here. So, okay, so let's get started. So, how many people want to find a great job after they graduate? Okay, awesome. So this is not a judgment. This is just for me to see how to do the presentation to you. How many people want to find an okay job? Like, it doesn't have to be the best. Like, okay, cool. How many people just want a job, period?
A job, any job that pays well.
Oh, any job that pays well. Great. Okay, so you're in the right room. So I'm going to be specifically talking about how to land your OPT job because, you know, I've talked to some of you guys and a lot of you just came here, you know, this year or last year, and I completely understand the immigrant story because I don't know if you guys can tell from my, you know, voice, but I came here 16 years ago, and I came from China to the U.S., and there were no immigrants in my entire school, so I was basically this, you know, kid who couldn't speak English, and I had to sink or swim, right? So that's why I learned English, because I had to survive, right? So I understand that you guys sacrificed so much in your home country. You left your friends, left your family. You just came here on a dream, right? You wanted to, you know, study under Lionel and get your degree and get that great paying job, right? But there's a season for learning, right? And there's also a season for earning. But a lot of people miss the bridge in between because as immigrants, we come here, we have to learn the language, we have to learn the culture, and we don't have time for networking like a lot of Americans do, right? So hopefully in these 20 minutes, I catch you guys up on the job search. So when you graduate, you know, I know some of you are second years, third years, or just second quarter here, you can get caught up. So does anybody know what OPT is? Everybody knows. So it's optional practical training. So after you graduate, you get 1 year of working here in the U.S., right? So let's get started. I know some people are concerned about CPT, but the principle is the same, right? And eventually, you will get your H-1B job. Hopefully, Donald Trump doesn't become president, but hey, you know, never know. We'll be prepared in that case. So Lionel did a bit introduction to me, but just personally, who am I? So I graduated from UC Berkeley 4 years ago, and I got hired as a business analyst a year after. It wasn't so great as a business analyst because I got fired after 6 months, but that drove me to start my teaching business where I started teaching TOEFL to pharmacists, who are foreign pharmacists who needed a 26 on their speaking, right? So what happened was that I worked with this student. He was super diligent, super hardworking. His name is Mo. He used to be an Iranian pharmacist, and he came to the U.S., but he never had a chance to practice his English, right? We would work once a week, but it wasn't enough. And I asked Mohammed, so, you know, you go back home and you speak Farsi to your wife and your, you know, and your daughter, how about you find a part-time job, right? Because at that point, he was unemployed for an entire year because he didn't know how to, he got fired from a job because of a cultural misunderstanding, right? So I thought, okay, let's fix your resume, let's coach you on interviews, let's see what happens. So what happened was that after a year of not getting a job, in 2 weeks he got a job at CBS, right? So this got me started into thinking, why are we even here, right? Are we here to just be immigrants, just to learn English? No, we're here to make a life, right? Whatever you want to start a business, you want to get a job, it all starts with getting that first job, right? So this is for you guys who, you know, studied so hard. You guys are so smart and hardworking to help you guys get that first job. Now, I've been featured in some pretty cool places, Huffington Post, Elite Daily, YFS Magazine, and I was writing for a programming magazine geared towards women called Programming and Pink. And I know that a lot of people say great things about themselves, but, you know, take it with a grain of salt. These are some of the things my clients have said about me. I know it's kind of a small print So one of my clients used to be a software developer at Amazon, and we helped her negotiate a 6-figure salary. And it was funny because I was texting her in negotiations, and I was in a Vegas hotel because of a conference. And then she said, "Thank you so much. I got $115,000 a year job." Right? So how many people want that salary? Right? It'd be awesome, right? Like, because I think it's not just about the salary. Like, when I got my first job, my family kept respected me more, right? Instead of being like this little kid who took their tuition money, I was more respected just as a breadwinner, right? And the next person that I worked with, Cindy Ramirez, she was on a TN visa because she was a Mexican national, and she transitioned to social media to UX design in just 10 weeks, right? So it's not even about the technical skills. It's about how you position yourself and how you sell yourself and how you package yourself in a way that American company would say, "Hey, let me give you $7,000 for the visa because I think you're awesome. I think you'd be great for the company," right? So I know again I'm going to be redoing my PowerPoints for later, but one of my favorite emails was in all caps. Like my clients are like, "I'm going to get an offer on Monday," right? So what would that be like for you guys if you guys can get emails about offers, right? Definitely change your situation, right? Now this is a picture of me 4 years ago. This is not to show you guys I switched different color glasses, but to show you guys that I also was where you were before, right? You're sitting in class, and actually 30 days after I took this picture, I was freaking out because I was sitting on the floor of my Berkeley apartment wondering what the hell happened with my life, because I didn't get a single call for an interview. I didn't get a single offer, and I did everything right. I went to school, I worked part-time, and I got the degree, but somehow the jobs weren't coming to me, right? And those 30 days were really tough for me because I went through a lot of programs, a lot of books, because I was determined. I was gonna get a job, or I was gonna die trying, right? Leave 50%, get rich or die trying. So in the process, I figured out a method that worked for people with no experience at all. So why do I say no experience? You guys are much better than where I was, because I graduated with a completely useless degree called urban studies. So thank God you guys picked a good degree. You guys have the technical skills to get that job, right? But I went from useless degree to business analyst, not because I lied, but because I leveraged some of the projects that I did, right? I studied online marketing. I monetized some of the websites. I made some really weird websites called one was called Cat Drinking Fountains, and I monetized that by putting some Amazon ads on there, and I was able to make $200 off of that, and that's what I told my boss. And my boss was like, "Okay, maybe your degree was useless, but at least you have some skills that we could use," right? So that's how I got hired as a business analyst, right? A lot of you guys have, said to me before, "What if my experience was in India? What does that mean for me if the company only says we want US experience?" Actually, if you look at Silicon Valley, you guys are ruling it, right? Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Microsoft, everybody has experience from India. But why is it that when we go on the job search, we don't get it? It's not because of your experience in India. It's about how you package yourself. Does that make sense? Yeah. So people want to make sure that you can adjust the US culture, and sometimes Americans don't know what the companies are like, right? So it's up to you to show them how great the Indian company you work for is. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that as well. Okay, so now these days I'm a career coach for immigrant professionals. This was a picture taken at UCI, and I was doing some resume and interview sessions. So that's what I do today because of my own struggles, because of what I've helped with my clients. Really got able to be able to do this today. Now, let's get down to the meat and the potatoes of it. So there are 3 steps to finding your OPT job, and the first step is to ignore all companies that cannot sponsor you, because the thing is, they're either too broke to support, the lawyers on the filing fees, or they just don't want to take a chance on you because of the lottery, right? Because statistically speaking, there's 65,000 slots, and 20,000 if it's like you guys who completed a master's degree at a US university, right? So it's still limited. So if you really want an H-1B sponsor, OPT sponsor, don't apply to companies who have never done it, because it's just going to be wasting your time and their time, right? So make sure you get a company that can help you. And number two, I'm going to be talking about how to get interviews, because I've talked to some people here before. They say, I send out resumes, and I hear people who say they send out 1,000, and I'm like, wow, that's amazing, but they still don't get anything, right? So I'm going to teach you how to network the right way. So networking means not just sending people messages on LinkedIn. Can you please advise me on how to get that job, or can you give me some advice? That's not the right way to do it. I'm going to show you how you can connect with people in person through coffee meetings and also phone calls, so you can get the referral. And lastly, I'm going to be talking about interviews. I love interviews because I get to dress up and talk about myself for an hour, and everybody has to listen to me, right? So I know the interview can be tough if you're starting out, but I'm going to show you a really easy way with just one question, how you can be, top of the top. So hopefully none of you guys will be competing with each other, because after this, you guys are going to be much better at interviews. Now, again, I just want to do another slide because this is so important, because people come to me, why can't companies sponsor me? Because they cannot, right? So only look at companies that can sponsor, and for OPT, that means that you only have to look at E-verified companies, right? So make sure that you go to E-verified companies, look it up on USCIS. You can look it up by the title, the location, and the company. So make sure you do the research beforehand, so you don't end up hearing, oh, we can't hire you because we don't sponsor, right? So that's the first step you should do. And if you are really far ahead thinking, if you guys know you want an H-1B, instead of wasting a year on an OPT job, just reverse engineer it, right? Look at the companies that already sponsor H-1Bs, right? You look at Infosys, they sponsored 33,000 last year. You look at, Google, they sponsored 4,000, and their average salary was 127,000, right? So begin with the end in mind and look at the companies that have already sponsored. So this should be pretty simple on concept, but not a lot of people do it. Now let's talk about the interviews, because getting interviews, it's not about if you're smart, right? Have you guys seen people who are dumber than you who get interviews? Anybody? Who don't do as good projects? Okay. So it's not because they're better than you or smarter. They're not. It's just their connections, right? So I know a lot of times international students, we tend to hang out with people like us, right? Because it's like, I know when I go to South Coast Plaza and I hear a Shanghainese dialect, I immediately turn around, because it's like, it warms your heart, right? Whichever part of India, you hear somebody from your hometown, you feel close to them, right? But in the job search, because you're in the US, it's really important for you to network with Americans, right? Unfortunately, you do have to go a little bit outside of your comfort zone. So this does mean going to people who have the job that you have, right? Going to people who are CEOs and people who kind of scare you because of their titles, because they are the people who can help you, right? I'm not saying, ditch your friends forever. I'm saying, if there's a cricket match on Sunday that you can miss because there's a career fair on the same day, then maybe you should make some adjustments, right? Because I think a lot of times international students feel some sort of fear because of their accent, or they're embarrassed about their experience. You can't keep having that and get to the next level, right? So urging you guys to network with people who have the job that you want, or people who have the titles that might scare you a bit, because those are the people who can give you the jobs, right? So how many people have gone through interviews, like through the process? Okay, so just so I know what I should talk about. So if you guys are not getting any interviews at all, this is what you should do. So does everybody have a LinkedIn profile here? Okay, you guys are on the right step, because this is a website where you can basically sit in your pajamas and you can talk to a CEO, right? And that's actually kind of what I did. I emailed a lot of CEOs because I had nothing to lose. I had to make it happen. But also, LinkedIn has 400 million professionals, right? So do you need 400 million people to hire you? No, you just need one person, right? And just on CEOs alone, last time I checked, there's 3 million CEOs. So you don't need to take up golf, you don't need to have family connections, you just need to learn how to use this network, right? And the second part is your alumni network. And I actually didn't start thinking about this until I worked with some of my students, because your school has a lot of alumni, right? So have you guys reached out to people who graduated from this school? Because that's a great source of people who can help you, right? Maybe they ended up working at Google, maybe they ended up working at Apple, and they're willing to help you because you guys share the same story of being in the same school, right? And the next part is career fairs. There's actually a career fair on Thursday near the airport, so you don't have to be from the school, you don't have to be from the region. You just have to go where the careers are, right? Which is the career fairs, right? And you have to start chatting people up. And it's really about networking. It's not about, oh, I got 100% on this. I know you guys just had a midterm, but sorry to say, it's not really, just about the test scores. It's about what you do, right? Who you connect to, who you have referrals with. And the last story I want to share about networking is talking to CEOs, right? CEOs actually hang out at gyms. If you go to the gym like LA Fitness at 5 a.m., you'll see a lot of CEOs, right? So why do I share with you this story? Because a friend of my friend, he came to San Francisco with nothing, like literally nothing. He just knew he had to find a job, right? So what he did was that he joined a boxing gym that all the CEOs went to. And he physically fought his potential boss, right? So they had a conversation, boom, he ended up getting hired, right? So I'm not saying you guys need to be boxers or you need to go to a gym, but think like him, right? Where do CEOs hang out? Where can I go? Where's Google? You can go to Costa Mesa and then you can start hanging out, right? Nobody's stopping you. So I really want you guys to stop thinking about, I got good grades, like I did. Like, I got good grades, I have this great network, it'll just come to you. It will not come to you. You have to go to the job. And I want you guys to know to always ask. Never be embarrassed of asking for help, because there are so many resources out there for us. And I know that I'm a woman, so I kind of assume I want people to just know, right? Especially my husband. I just want him to know what I want. But people can't help you if you don't ask, right? Are you looking for a job? Can you help me with this? Reach out to people who can help you, because that's how you're going to get the job, right? And I just threw up a bunch of numbers here. I just want you guys to guess. Do you guys know what these numbers mean? Any guesses? Yes, number of applications, because I think that a lot of people think the job search is just magical, right? Oh, somebody updated on LinkedIn, she got a job at, Deloitte or EY. It's not, right? Because these are the numbers that I had to go through. Like, I cold emailed 100 CEOs and I got 90 rejections, but hey, the 90 rejections don't matter because I got 10 interviews, right? And out of the 10 interviews, I got 2 offers, right? So don't worry too much if you feel like, oh, I suck at interviews, I'm so bad at this. Like, it's a progress, right? Like, nobody's like born out of the room, oh, I'm great at interviewing. No, nobody's like that, right? Everybody has to practice. So if you're in the job search right now, you're feeling discouraged, just understand that it's just a numbers game. You have to keep going, you have to get better, right? Same thing. If you guys want to do better on the next midterm, just have to spend more hours studying, right? It's the same principle. And persistence is definitely key here. And I want to show you guys this, because I said in the beginning I was going to show you guys how to interview, right? So what I want you guys to write down on a piece of, I know everyone's eating, but maybe you can arrange your food. But write down your answer to why should I hire you. So I'm going to give you guys 30 seconds to write down your answers. So.
And my pen.
Okay, about 15 more seconds. I'm going to come together. Okay, so now I'm not going to make you share your answers with anybody. This is just for your own reference. So take a look and think about how convincing you are. Are you guys convinced that people should hire you? Yes, no? All right, great. So for those of us who are kind of confused, looking like the kid on the left, really the only questions you need to answer is, can you help the company make money or save time, right? Because you don't have to go through so much of, oh, I did this, I did that. You want to show a result, right? So to give you guys some examples, to my clients, okay. So one of my clients, she's in finance, right? The good thing about finance is very easy to quantify your results, right? So my client, she volunteered at the IRS Vita, so that means helping people who make, I think, less than $50,000 do their tax returns, right? So it was a volunteer position, but she was able to help 10 people save $5,000, right? That's amazing because that's a solid result, right? And another one of my clients, she was a business analyst, right? And she programmed Excel so that she cut the time from several hours of data entry to just 10 minutes, right? So if any of you guys have programming background, if you can emphasize efficiency, you can emphasize how much you help the company, you're in and you're golden, right? So I just wanted to let you guys know that the right method plus massive action means that it's inevitable that you're gonna find a job. Because people ask me, will I find a job, Lee? And I'm like, you will absolutely find a job if you just never give up, right? There are people, yes, who get denied for H-1B visas, but I've heard of people who, they went into community college again. They went on an F1 visa, got a CPT job, and then applied for the H-1B again, and they got it, right? So not to say that there are limitations, because unfortunately, because of the H-1B visa, there are limitations, but as long as you never give up and always find ways to help yourself, you will absolutely get a job in the US. Now, I know that the job search is a little bit sensitive. People don't like to talk about it. People want to just keep it hush-hush, and sometimes there's a lot of shame involved in it. So if you guys want to have a 30-minute consult with me, you guys can head on over to freecallwithlee.com. You can apply for a consult that way. You don't have to tell anybody. You don't have to raise your hand if you don't feel like it. So you can have a consult with me so I can see how you can get to your job faster. And again, as a thank you gift, I will give you the book, the digital version of the book for free, so you can download it. But if you guys have your laptops already. If you want to get it now, you can go to just search Amazon for my book. We're going to have the book until Saturday. So thank you so much for listening. That is my content of the speech. So does anybody have any questions? Yeah, it's li@li-lin.net. So lee@lee-lin.net. So if you guys have any questions, you can send it to me, because I know not everybody likes to share their job search. You guys can email me and let me know. So, question. Anybody else have any other questions? Otherwise, I'm just going to wrap it up. And yeah, so thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very good. All right, folks. Now, listen. Give me attention for a moment. Thank you. I don't know about you, but I felt like this was of value. Was it of value?
Yes.
Yeah. Excellent. So how about we give Lynn a bigger round of applause? Thank you, folks. Thank you. The time now is 3:10. We're going to start the exam at exactly what time?
3:30.
Okay, let's do it 3:30. That way we get time to go for a second round of food. We get time to pay our